Good Monday afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here, and welcome back to another urgent weather forecast. In this update, I'm going to give you the very latest information on this rapidly developing winter storm for the Midwest as it tracks eastward across the Ozarks into the Mid-Atlantic. And then I will give you the very latest update on the historic Arctic outbreak that the United States will be seeing, especially across the Dakotas, Minnesota, and much of the High Plains. So, to start off the video, here's a look at the latest 18Z HRRR model. This is a high-resolution rapid refresh. This is a meso model that we like to use for short-term weather forecasting. And what we see here on the map is areas of blue. That's what we're looking for here for the development of moderate to heavy snowfall across Kansas and Missouri, including for northern Oklahoma. So this is for this afternoon, right around your 7 o'clock Central Standard Time frame. And what we have here is the development of a band of snow stretching across northwestern Kansas into southeastern Kansas with a tightening area of lower pressure that develops over northern Texas. This is what we call our Colorado Rocky Low, except it's not in Colorado. Instead, it is right along the New Mexico Plateau where these tall mountains are. We get cyclogenesis that typically occurs on this side of the mountain range because of divergent flow aloft. So as we go forward in time, we can see that this is going to intensify gradually overnight tonight. So by the time we go into, say, this is roughly right around 1 or 2 in the morning Central Standard Time. And what we have here is some light to moderate snowfall that gradually intensifies as we have this surface low that also deepens a little bit down to 1004 millibars. But it's not only that, it's only going to get worse, especially for your Tuesday morning commute. That's where we are going to be dealing with rapidly escalating situation of light to moderate snowfall. We got some ice down here. See some of this pink here over Oklahoma City, maybe even Tulsa, Oklahoma. Could get a little bit of ice and rain in the mix with that snow mixing in as well. And then, of course, up here across Kansas, if you are in Kansas City, if you're in Wichita Falls, Kansas, you could be seeing a little bit of snowfall out of this because of that colder Arctic air that is going to be flowing in out of the northeasterly direction. But it's really going to get bad here as the morning commute goes on here. This is roughly right around, say, 10 to 11 in the morning for Central Standard Time, right around almost close to lunchtime, and you are talking about some moderate to really heavy snowfall, especially over northeastern Oklahoma here, according to the HRRR, as well as southwestern Missouri, southeastern Kansas. We are looking at the best chances of heavier snowfall here, with Kansas City looking at some light to moderate snowfall rates. And this is really where we are talking about the heaviest. Actually, more so in here, we're looking at the heaviest, most persistent heavy snowfall rates throughout the period. And so going forward, you can see the heavy snow continues across portions of St. Louis, Missouri, down across Springfield, Missouri, into Fayetteville, Arkansas, Little Rock. Yeah, you're going to be looking at some sleet and freezing rain in the mix there. Might even see some thunder, freezing rain, and sleet in the mix too. With Tulsa, Oklahoma, as well as Norman, Oklahoma there, looking at some light to moderate snowfall as that cooler air really rushes in out of the north. That Arctic high coming in from Canada really going to drag in those temperatures from the north. It's going to feel a whole lot different once this system moves on through. All right. Now, as we shift gears into the mid-Atlantic, because it's not just the high plains that are going to get this heavy snowfall. It's going to also be in Kentucky, into Tennessee, West Virginia. Hey, my sister lives in Maryland, right? So we're talking about some light to moderate snowfall that's going to be dumping with this system. Now, there is some discrepancies amongst what model you use. The NAM may be more aggressive than the HRRR and vice versa. But because we're in that short range forecast, basically by now, we're going to switch our gears over to the high res model department. So looking at this for Wednesday morning for your morning commute, it's all rain for areas basically across Birmingham, Alabama. If you're in Atlanta, Georgia, mainly a rainfall event, some cold rain filtering in with this. No snow, no freezing rain, which is good, just all rain instead. But if you are in Tennessee, though, you're looking at some good snow. Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia included with that. We're looking at some light to moderate snowfall with this. Now, as we go into, say, the later part of Wednesday for your late morning commute into your lunchtime, I love my lunch, right? Lunch is good. We all always need our 3 meals a day. But yeah, 3 meals means 3 different precipitation types. Look it down here. Rain in South Carolina and Georgia with a quick transition to some icy conditions across central North Carolina, then turning to all snow across Virginia, West Virginia, as well as portions there. Well, most of Kentucky will have gotten the snow, including from Maryland and southern New Jersey, and as well as southern Delaware. Sorry, I'm in a good mood today, so if I'm smiling, it's not because I'm glad that this is happening. It's just I'm feeling as good as I could ever be, feeling like 1,000,000 miles an hour at this moment, right? Because there's this winter storm going on, and then I'm just in a good mood overall. So throughout the day Wednesday for your evening commute, we're looking at moderate to heavy snowfall, and models differ here on how this evolves. The European model has this much further south, barely hitting the New Jersey coast as well as Delaware, whereas the NAM model, including the HRRR, do show some good snowfall up here in Maryland, Delaware, as well as Virginia. Almost said Vermont. Oh my gosh, my words slipped out of my mouth there. Maybe a little bit of snow filtering in on the backside of this thanks to that colder air mass coming in out of Canada. So therefore, there is discrepancies here on exactly how this pans out. In fact, for the sake of things, because I'm doing my job here, I did want to show you all the European model really quickly, just to show you the uncertainty here that is existing in the modeling. And as we put this into motion, you can see there much further south as what I just said for the Euro versus the NAM 3 kilometer, which is another high-res model showing snowfall, more heavier snowfall further to the north. So therefore, there is some uncertainty exactly who's going to get the most snow this far out in time still. Now, as far as those snowfall totals go over the next couple of days for the high plains into the mid-Atlantic through Thursday morning on the 20th here of February, this is the National Weather Service. Most conservative forecast that we can use in these videos compared to other channels that might use one model showing the worst case scenario. So in this case, we're looking at, and I'm forecasting anywhere between 6 to maybe 11 inches of snowfall across central and southern Missouri, southeastern portion there of Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and northernmost Arkansas, looking at about 6 to 10 inches of snowfall with isolated amounts, maybe up to 10, maybe borderlining a foot out of this winter storm. The snowfall totals have trended a little lower in the last few runs, so therefore I've trended a little lower in this forecast as well, with anywhere between about 2 to 5 inches of snowfall across Kentucky into Tennessee, West Virginia, and North Carolina, with in particular Norfolk, Newport News, including for southern Delaware and Maryland here, including for eastern Maryland, could get around 3 to 6 inches of snowfall. So in general, under a foot of snowfall is in the forecast now, which is good news for a lot of people that live in Virginia that don't like the snow a lot. There's not going to be a foot of snow, which is good news for right now, but that could always change last minute. So that's why you need to stay tuned to the YouTube channel by hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button, and also sharing this with their family and friends on social media. But this is where ground zero is with the most snowfall. Really quickly, I also wanted to interrupt here with significant amount of snowfall that is anticipated over some of the Great Lakes, especially off of Lake Ontario. We are looking at some areas here in New York, downwind of the lake, that could get 2 to 4 feet of snowfall out of this winter storm, mainly due to lake effect snow. with Lake Michigan here, downwind of Lake Michigan, getting anywhere between 4 to 6 inches of snowfall. And then way up here in northernmost Michigan, you might see 5 to 8 inches of snowfall. So overall, lake effect snow not looking a whole lot of a big deal, but overall, the lake effect snow not looking like a big deal at all for Lake Michigan as well as in portions of northern Michigan. But it's going to be a huge deal, though, off of Lake Ontario, especially over some of these areas that could get up to, again, 4 feet of snow. Now, another hazard with this winter storm will be the risk for ice accumulation here with some freezing rain. Right now, most of the models, including the National Weather Service, is forecasting anywhere between 3/100 of an inch to maybe 1/10 of an inch across Oklahoma into Arkansas. Northern Louisiana might get a glaze with up to about 1/4 of an inch of ice potentially across eastern North Carolina. Rainfall totals have also trended down in the last several model runs from the National Weather Service here. Still forecasting around 1 inch of rainfall for northern Florida, for southern Georgia, southern Alabama, southern Mississippi into Louisiana, where isolated rain amounts up to about 1.25 inches are expected. We're looking at around 1 inch to maybe 1.25 inches for easternmost portion there of North Carolina, where it doesn't snow. It's mainly all rain. You're looking at around 1 inch to maybe 1.25 inches of rainfall over the course of 3 days. Because of this, the Winter Storm Severity Index is calling for a major risk for heavy snowfall and impacts across southern Missouri into northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas due to heavy snowfall and the potential for blizzard and whiteout conditions due to strong winds and colder temperatures. All right. Surrounding that, there is a moderate risk for heavy snowfall and wintry conditions across most of Kansas, including for northeastern Oklahoma, northern Arkansas, northwestern Tennessee, western Kentucky, southern portion there of Illinois, and southernmost Indiana, including for most of Missouri. Now, across the eastern seaboard here, like the mid-Atlantic, there is a moderate to major impact with some heavy snowfall and icy conditions. So road travel and air travel could severely be impacted with this because of how significant the snow and ice could actually be in certain areas here. But there's one location on this map that will have extreme winter storm severity impacts with this winter storm, with this lake effect snow that's coming north of Syracuse, New York. There is a extreme risk for heavy snowfall, road closures, blizzard conditions, because there are going to be feet of snowfall with the lake effect snow coming off of Lake Ontario. This is Lake Ontario. The wind is going to be blowing like this, and there is going to be feet of lake effect snow here, and that is why the Winter Storm Severity Index in this area is calling for a moderate to major to extreme index of impact. Now, with that being said, let's take a quick look here at the National Weather Service weather watches and alerts here. There is a crap ton of extreme cold warnings out across much or in pretty much the entire northern plains. Most, or if not all, of the high plains here of the U.S. down across central Texas, because wind chill values in some of these areas, like the Dakotas, will have wind chill values as low as -65 degrees, if not -70 degrees below zero. In other words, if you are outside without any protection, you could get frostbite in as little as a minute or even sooner. You could get hypothermia as little as 15 minutes if actions are not taken considerably to protect yourself. All right. This is a very serious situation, folks, and all protection needs to be done right now. You need to protect yourself because of how cold it's going to be. Winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories. We got high wind warnings, lake effect snow warnings out because of how serious this weather pattern is going to be. I mean, this is pretty serious. So with that being said, here's a look at your actual air temperatures over the next few days, folks. This is from the National Weather Service, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I don't want this video to be too long, but I will tell you what. Tuesday morning, Boy, is it going to be very cold out there for many locations. Across the northern tier of the United States, we're looking at temperatures anywhere between -5 degrees to as cold as -35 to even -40 degrees below zero. This is exceptional, folks. This is dangerous. This is outrageously cold for these locations. Temperatures in central Kansas, 0 degrees to as cold as -5. Even in the Great Lakes in the Northeast, we're looking at single-digit temperatures for your Tuesday morning. And it's only going to get worse from here. I think the coldest morning will be both for Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning for some locations. For Tuesday afternoon, though, for tomorrow afternoon, so to speak, temperatures are not going to warm up a whole lot. From the -30 degrees, you're only going to warm up to about -10. So yeah, staying below 0 degrees for the entire day in the Dakotas, Nebraska, if you're in Iowa, if you're in Minnesota, Montana, oh my gosh, it is going to be very cold. We got teens in Kokomo, Indiana, Indianapolis, as well as the Northeast. We got single digits, like Mount Washington for reference, will only warm up to -10 degrees. Well, I don't even know if you call that a warm up at all. -10 for your daytime high on Mount Washington in New Hampshire, with winds, sustained winds of 100 to 115 miles an hour. So your wind chill, your estimated wind chill value will be -80 to -115 degrees below zero. If you want to go to Mount Washington tomorrow, be my guest. You won't survive up there because it's going to be so cold. In fact, frostbite could happen in literal seconds because it's so cold up there, and hypothermia could happen within minutes because of how cold, okay? So consider that. Don't go to Mount Washington tomorrow because it's going to be exceptionally cold, exceptionally windy with hurricane force winds. Now for the overnight hours of Wednesday here, really going to be cold again. We're looking at -10 to -30 degree temperatures in some areas, as cold as -40 once again. For your daytime highs for Wednesday, not going to get any better. I'll tell you that right now. 0 degrees to as cold as -5 degrees in some areas there, such as the Dakotas, including for Minnesota. In the teens and 20s across the Great Lakes and the Northeast, with temperatures in Texas that are going to be recordly cold because of that colder air coming in out of the north. And still on the cold side for Thursday morning, look at this. Oklahoma City, 1 degree. Yeah, 1 degree. Some isolated areas, maybe as cold as -1. In some of the rural locations, in the Dakotas, the Northern Plains, boy oh boy, -20 to -30 degrees yet again, still in the forecast. It's not getting any better. Now, those were just the air temperatures, folks. The wind chill values are going to be very substantial, deadly, and historic. All right, let's go forward here into tomorrow morning. Look at these wind chill values, okay? In the Dakotas primarily, we're looking at wind chill values as cold as -65, possibly close to -70 in isolated locations. All right, in fact, the HRRR and the NAM do show that wind chill values up here could be as cold as -70 degrees for Tuesday morning and even for Wednesday morning. So unrelenting cold temperatures up here across the Dakotas, including for Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Going to be very cold up here as well, with wind chill values -50 to -65 degrees below zero. And this continues across much of the Midwest. All right. And so this is for Wednesday morning. Wind chill values, once again, look at this. -65 degrees up here in Canada. In the Dakotas, still very cold, -50. We got wind chill values down here in Texas, -5, like in Dallas, Texas. If you're in Denver, Colorado, -10. In portions of the Midwest here, -20, 5 degrees below zero. It's just going to be unrelenting Arctic air that's going to be pouring in out of the north. Now, if you found this video very helpful, detailed, and informative, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell notification icon, hit that thumbs up button, folks. We got yesterday's video up to almost 900 likes, so thank you all for hitting the like button because it really means a lot. It helps the YouTube algorithm out to recommend this to a much larger audience, and also share this video with their family and friends on social media, folks, because again, the more people share this video out, The more views we get, YouTube's going to recommend this to a much larger audience. And the goal of these videos is actually to get this out to a larger audience, because this is looking deadly. This is looking historic as far as the Arctic air goes. Now, the snowstorm's not looking historic, but this is going to bring a lot of blizzard conditions and some gusty winds for portions of the Midwest, okay? So I want you all to please take this seriously, because this is no joke at all, especially when you're dealing with extreme cold warnings as far south as central Texas for late February. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys back here possibly tomorrow morning.